The night smelled of rain, smoke, and fear. The neon lights of Rusty Joe's diner flickered against puddles on the cracked asphalt, painting the wet ground in shades of red and blue. Inside, the sound of clinking glasses and an old jukebox barely covered the tense silence that followed a sudden, violent noise, the sound of fabric tearing. Every head turned. Every breath caught. And in the middle of that storm of shock stood Emily, her shirt ripped open by a drunk stranger with tattoos curling up his arms like snakes, his smirk wide, his eyes cruel. For a single moment, time froze. Until the sound of heavy boots echoed from the corner booth, the corner that everyone knew belonged to the Hells Angels. Fire if you believe in kindness, second chances, and standing up for what's right. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales. It helps us spread stories that remind the world that courage and compassion still exist. Fire. Emily wasn't the kind of woman who asked for help. At 28, she had already learned what it meant to fight alone. Her father had died in a car accident when she was 12, her mother never quite recovered, and by the time she was 21, Emily was working double shifts to keep a roof over their heads. The diner wasn't glamorous, it was grease, sweat, and long nights, but it was honest work. She had always told herself that dignity wasn't about what you wore, it was about how you carried yourself. And that night, standing under the harsh glow of fluorescent lights with tears threatening to fall, she felt that dignity shatter like glass. The man who ripped her shirt, he wasn't just drunk. He was the kind of man who thrived on fear. His name was Cole, a drifter who came into town 2 weeks ago, covered in tattoos that looked like they'd been carved by fire and filled with ink. He had the kind of confidence that came from breaking rules and bones alike. He'd been warned before, keep your hands to yourself. But men like him never listen. That night, he wanted to see who would stop him. Let's see who can save you now, he sneered, loud enough for everyone to hear. And then they stood. 4 men in black leather jackets with the Hells Angels patch blazing on their backs. The room's air changed in an instant. It wasn't chaos, it was quiet power. These men weren't heroes, not in the fairy tale sense. They were bikers, rough, scarred, and feared. But even wolves know when one of their own kind steps out of line. The leader, a tall man with a gray beard and tattoos that told their own stories, stepped forward. His name was Jack Grim Lawson, a man who'd seen more fights than birthdays and carried a lifetime of regrets behind his eyes. No one spoke. The sound of a stool scraping against the floor echoed like thunder. Cole's smirk faltered. "Get out," Jack said, voice low but commanding. Cole laughed, trying to play it off, but the laughter died quickly when Jack's hand clamped down on his shoulder. What happened next wasn't just a fight, it was justice served in silence. The men didn't beat Cole to prove a point. They made him walk out, humiliated, stripped of his false bravado. Outside, rain began to fall harder, washing the blood and shame off the pavement as Cole disappeared into the night. Emily stood frozen, clutching the torn edges of her shirt. Jack turned to her, his voice softening. "You okay, sweetheart?" he asked, his eyes meeting hers, not with pity, but respect. She nodded, but her lips trembled. Someone handed her a jacket, a black leather one with patches and scars that spoke of miles traveled and battles fought. "Keep it," the biker said quietly. "You earned it tonight." That moment stayed with Emily. Not just because she had been saved, but because she saw something she hadn't believed in for years, decency. The world had hardened her. Men had disappointed her. Life had taken more than it had given. But in that small diner, in the most unexpected way, kindness found her again. The next few weeks changed everything. The story spread through the town like wildfire. Some said the bikers were heroes. Others said they were just protecting their reputation. But Emily knew better. They had acted out of something deeper, a code of loyalty, of respect, of right and wrong that didn't need to be written to be real. Jack started coming by the diner more often, sitting at the same booth, ordering the same coffee. He never talked about that night, and neither did she. But every time their eyes met, there was an understanding. He saw in her the kind of strength most people overlooked. She saw in him a man who carried the weight of mistakes he was trying to make up for. Slowly, a friendship formed, steady, quiet, and real. One evening, just before closing, Emily walked outside and found Jack standing by his bike, looking at the sky painted in shades of dying sunlight. "Why did you help me?" she asked softly. Jack didn't answer right away. He lit a cigarette, exhaled, and finally said, "Because once, someone didn't help my sister. I've been trying to balance that ever since." Emily's throat tightened. For a long moment, neither spoke. But something in her heart healed a little right then. Life didn't magically become perfect. Emily still worked long hours. Bills still came due. Jack still carried ghosts he didn't talk about. But they both found something they hadn't expected: hope. She started painting again in her small apartment, colors bleeding across canvas like emotions set free. He started helping at the diner on weekends, fixing broken things, talking to the regulars. And somehow, through quiet moments and second chances, two broken people began to build something whole. Months later, when a new waitress joined the diner, nervous and shy, Emily found herself protecting her the same way Jack once protected her. "You're safe here," she said with a smile that meant more than words. The world was still cruel sometimes, but kindness had a way of circling back. By the time spring rolled around, Jack had patched up more than just the diner's coffee machine. He'd patched up a part of himself he thought was gone forever. And Emily, once the girl who never asked for help, became the woman who helped others find their voice. One rainy night, Jack placed something on the counter, a small silver pendant shaped like an angel's wing. "For you," he said simply. Emily's eyes filled with tears. "Why?" she whispered. Jack smiled faintly. "Because you're proof that angels don't always have halos. Sometimes, they wear aprons." The night he rode off with his crew again, the roar of engines echoing through the wet streets, Emily stood at the window, holding the pendant close. She didn't know where life would take him, or her, but she knew that for a moment in time, the world had been right. And that was enough. Broken heart, if this story touched your heart, please like, share, and comment below. Your support helps Kindness Tales keep spreading stories that remind us that good still exists, even in the darkest places. Broken heart. Sparkle special request, comment below. Kindness always comes back, if you believe even the smallest act of courage can change a life.